Hello, I am Aoyolaipe, and I like to flatten entire teams in top-tier air arcade matches. So I'm going to make a series of videos teaching you how to play. Do you want to know how to set up your keybinds and stuff like that? Well then you're watching the wrong video, because I'm going to teach you how to play dirty and kill everyone. You've probably clicked on this video because you keep dying to missiles that you never saw coming. I know it's frustrating. People tell me about it all the time, when I killed them with missiles they never saw coming. So I'm going to give practical, easy to understand answers to these two questions. How do I know a missile's coming at me, and what should I do about it? This guide will focus on how to survive the absolute sheer chaos of top tier air arcade, which is War Thunder's best game mode, although most of this will also apply to those cowards who play realistic. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing here? I'm holding down the mouse look activation key, which is C by default, and looking around. Are you doing this? Yes? Well, that's why you keep dying. And your assassin is pi r squared. That will be the only math equation in this video. You're welcome. Someone generally needs to be within 0.75 kilometers to kill you with their guns. For sake of argument, let's say that means you need to watch this much area when your opponents only have guns. Keeping track of an area that small is manageable by simply holding C and looking around. Okay, now let's give your enemies missiles that can kill you from, say, 4 kilometers away, and holy crap! You need to watch dozens of times as much space. Yeah, exponential equations tend to do stuff like this, and pi r squared is an exponential equation. The example I just gave you is a simplification. I left out a lot of details, but it should still give you a basic idea of the sort of problem you're dealing with here. And it also explains why plain old looking around will very abruptly stop working somewhere around ranks 5 or 6. So what should you do instead? You use the map. The map tells you where everyone is, and if it doesn't, you need to upgrade your crew's awareness and keen vision skills. Generally speaking, if someone is flying right at you, they're attacking you, and if they're not, they're not. It's still possible for someone to currently be attacking you without simultaneously flying towards you. It's just rare to encounter someone like me who actually will. So if you operate on this useful assumption, you can simply scan the map for enemy players who are headed in your direction. Then you can press C to look at and assess the potential threats that you already know are there, and that solves most of your problem. Here's an example. I'm skirting the edge of this furball, there's a lot going on, and it can be hard to know if someone is coming at me from simply looking at the furball. Plus, someone could be sneaking up on me from another direction. But a quick check on the map, let's slow that down. I can see that, yeah, there's someone headed towards me. I'm pretty used to doing this, so you might need to look for a bit longer if you're new. I now press C to look in that direction, and yeah, there's an F8 chucking a missile at me. Nice try. Surprise missile, death avoided. So you have to use the map in combination with plain old looking around. But how much you need to do of one instead of the other changes as you climb the tech tree. The reason why is that these red diamonds only appear while the rocket motor is burning. Once the rocket motor runs out, the missiles coast to their target and there's no red diamond while they're coasting. Early missiles often only burn for like 2 or 3 seconds, but some tier 8 missiles will burn for up to 30 seconds. Counterintuitively, that means that if you're at the lower end of top tier, say rank 6, the map is at its most important in my opinion. However, if I'm in a rank 8 match with its wild, tap-dancing, long-burning missiles, I will often crane my neck around looking for red diamonds. Either way, the more often you check the map, the less often you'll get surprised. Once you see the missile coming, there are countless things you could do, but some of the moves are complicated or only work against certain kinds of missiles. However, there's 5 ways to dodge missiles in general that are super easy to understand, so let's start with those. First things first, however, the faster you're flying, the easier all of this gets. At top tier, speed is life. So the 100% guaranteed way to dodge any type of missile at any battle rating forever is to put a mountain, hill, or even a large building between you and the incoming missile. Small obstacles like trees and very shallow hills can also work, but only if both you and your pursuer are low to the ground. Thankfully, if you hit the deck, your pursuer will almost always follow you, and if you don't know why you both need to be on the deck, this crude diagram I drew in Microsoft Paint speaks 1,000 words here. This diagram is another simplification, but the small variables I left out actually give you a bit more wiggle room. They help you escape. It's important to remember that enemy players can't launch missiles at you in the first place if there's a mountain in the way. So every single enemy player on the other side of a hill is not an immediate threat to you. I like to use the terrain to preemptively deny enemy players the chance to attack me as I pick my way across the map. It's simply far easier to pay attention if most of the enemy team can cannot actually attack you. Some of my more perceptive viewers might have even noticed that most of my wacky kill streaks tend not to happen on flat maps, and it's no coincidence that I have a history of really pissing people off specifically on the Mountain Ridge map, which is the most mountainous map in this game. You can also think ahead and bait enemy players into wasting their missiles. The R-27 is one of those super scary rank 8 missiles, and this MiG-29 just fired one of his 2 at me. But I take cover so it hits a mountain. A chase through the mountains then develops. I could dart from ridge to ridge and never give him a chance to launch his other R-27, but I'm instead gonna sit in front of him looking like an easy target until he finally launches his last missile. Then I take cover again, and this one also hits a mountain. When we finally reach this open area, he doesn't have any R-27s left because he wasted them. So my team wastes him. Countermeasures either work for you or they don't, and if they don't, it's probably due to one of these 5 straightforward reasons. So if this is a problem for you, just pause the video and read them. The only thing I'll add is that you can use countermeasures preemptively before someone gets a chance to launch a missile at you, and it can really screw up their ability to get a lock to launch the missile at you in the first place. Spamming countermeasures and then hiding behind a hill while they reload is a perfectly valid way to play top tier air arcade. In case you haven't figured it out yet, the train is really important. The big downside to outturning a missile is that it can often cost a lot of energy to do so. That's a problem because if, for example, you've just shamelessly flown straight through the entire enemy team at high speed shooting people in the face with radar missiles, the entire enemy team might spontaneously decide to turn around and start chasing you for some reason, and you'll have to keep your speed up in order to escape. Okay, that might not be a regular problem for everyone, but still, you should try to avoid having to outturn missiles in the first place. Because, again, turning costs energy, and energy is life in top tier. This is a big topic, so here are the absolute essential basics for beginners. If a plane has a battle rating of 9.0 or less, it usually has bad missiles that cost very little energy to outturn, your AIM-9Bs and R3Ss of the world. If it has a battle rating of 9.3 or higher, it usually has good missiles that will cost a lot of energy to outturn. However, all missiles, even good missiles, won't turn well right after they launch. So if you act quickly, you can easily outturn even a really good missile if it's fired at close range. Most, but not all, IR missiles, also known as heat-seeking missiles, are rear aspect only because they have trouble locking onto anything other than the hot engine exhaust that comes out the back of your jet. If early IR missiles in particular can't see your engine, they will lose lock. A hard enough turn can break the lock, but if you have a plane that can flip or turn quickly, you can do a 180 instead. If I don't commit to this head-on and just keep jumping around, it's really difficult to shoot me, and then I can just slip right under my pursuer. I love doing this with planes that have all aspect missiles because I can pull an Uno reverse card and dunk a missile into my pursuer's face as I slip past them. If you break the lock by turning normally, you lose speed and your pursuer can cut the corner. But if you do this maneuver, you lose even more speed, but your pursuers need to make the same energy murdering move as you. But after you did it, meaning you get a head start on acceleration, meaning you actually come out with an energy advantage, as you can see here. You should put your flaps down right before you do this to gain more maneuverability, but remember to put them back up right after or you'll destroy your speed. Oh, and this particular move really only works in arcade mode, and it's most effective at rank 6 and sometimes rank 7. In War Thunder, what you don't know will kill you, and the game tells you the plane and the weapon that killed you. Thus, the game tells you what you don't know. So if you died in a really confusing way, now you know what to Google. In addition, a relatively small number of planes make up the majority of the planes you'll actually see in a given match, because people tend to play the best Soviet or American jets, so it's really not that hard to remember which plane carries which missiles. I mean, clearly the F-16 is in style at the moment. This is actually something of an advantage for, like, people who play the French tech tree, because no one else really knows how the hell their jets work. If you miss the information about what killed you, it is repeated under the Combat tab in the replay. The replay also lets you switch to your attacker's view to see how they got you. Super helpful. If you weren't aware, you can access your replays by clicking here. Most War Thunder players will instinctively attack the easiest looking target, so if you simply make yourself look like a difficult target, less people will decide to chuck missiles at you in the first place, and that just makes your life easier. Here's 3 ways you can do that. First, go fast. No one likes chasing down targets. Second, fly between hills. That one's pretty self-explanatory. The missiles just obviously won't connect. Number 3, you can use countermeasures just for show. If you use countermeasures, you look like a less appealing target because you look more alert, even if you're not. Plus, it's annoying to lock onto you. If you see a guy doing this, you'll just kill his less alert teammate instead. Poor F4J. So if I know a bunch of enemy players can see me, I will often use a few countermeasures, even if there's no missile coming. It's very dumb, but very effective. Situational awareness is by far the single most important skill in this game, but your situational awareness skills simply matter far less in realistic mode. Missiles don't reload and people don't respawn, so there's way less stuff flying through the air that you need to keep track of. This is the unspoken reason why most players start in arcade mode, but eventually wind up playing realistic mode. They wash out. Personally, I think the sheer chaos of top tier air arcade is insanely fun, but there's really no shame in downgrading yourself to realistic mode if you just aren't good enough to handle it. Some people find it fun to spend the first 5 minutes of each match flying AFK to the real battle, but I find it fun to spend the first 5 minutes of the match personally annihilating literally the entire enemy team and winning the game. I guess people just have different tastes. This video should take care of most of your missile death problems, but I still had to leave out a ton of small details. I hope this video taught you enough fundamentals that you won't get utterly seal clubbed while you're trying to learn and explore the crazy world of top tier air arcade for yourself. I'll come out with some gameplay videos in the next few days showing exactly how to apply these concepts in practice, so subscribe if you don't want to miss those. And don't forget to like the video if you think it deserves a like, which it does, and feel free to leave a comment to drive up my engagement stats so this gets recommended to more people. Thanks for watching!